more of that, Mike. So. Were the ones where they fired them at you, coming straight towards you, but from over a tree. They were the other side of a bank of trees, and they were firing them up and over the trees towards you. And by the time you'd seen it coming over the tree and raised it up to take sight, of course, the thing was upon you. You're quite close to the tree, so it was pretty useless at that. The ones I was really good at were what they call the rabbits, where they bowl them along the ground, as it were, and they hop and they skip and they jump. I found that quite delightful. Anyway, I thoroughly enjoyed it, but it was a corporate day and it was a long day, and I must admit I did come back with a sore shoulder. Nevertheless, yeah, very enjoyable. Expensive hobby though to take up. I mean, luckily the Far East now brings in cartridges at incredibly cheaper price than I used to pay for Alinco cartridges in my youth. But yes, I have cartridges to save money. And there's another few stories there which I won't bother to tell. Some of them absolutely lethal. Round to you, Martin. G3YJO, M1PVC.
G3YJO. Well, I can imagine. Yeah, sounds. It's been a good tall tales morning, I think. One way and the other. Not a lot of radio, but a lot of good tales. Anyway, very good morning to Keith. Haven't heard you, and to Mike, which I shall await with bated breath to listen to the 11:54 in good shape. So I shall keep this over fairly short. I was called away on a phone call, so unfortunately missed the bit, and I don't know whether Dave is still on, but Dave, I just heard you come back, and you were a good 15 over 9 and a good signal when you swapped to the, I think it was the 19 set. So I'll put it on to Dave, because I think that's to whom I passed it last time, and then I'll pick up the threads of the conversation and as it goes round. So G8Y8, G3YJO.
No, Dave did sign, so it goes to Keith. G3XGW, M1PVC. Fine. W. And welcome back, Martin. And Mike, I'm not sure that was before, because it was very strong and very well modulated. If I so to speak. Anyway, we'll find that out in the fullness of time. Morning to Colin, and yeah, that sounded pretty gruesome. Yeah, the arc, and that was okay. And yeah, the bowling along rabbits. Well, that was quite good. I was doing quite well with those. But it was the amount of lead you had to follow a target going from, well, left to right in this case, quite a way away, which was. I knew it would be a lead, but I didn't realise it was. About 3 times the diameter of the clay, if not more, actually. But it was very good, actually. And no, I didn't have any problem with the shoulder. I think they were fairly light. Well, it was 12 bore, but it was. I think they were fairly light cartridges. That's what what you want for a beginner. Anyway, most no, it was a birthday, Colin. It was a very late Christmas present, or a Christmas present taken very late. Put it like that. A very well organised company actually up in the Cotswolds, just the other side of Cheltenham. Right, and the eye dominance thing was the other thing that fascinated me, because, you know, he said, obviously, initially he said, close your left eye, you know, when you're firing. And Michael didn't get on with that, my son. And it turns out when you do the test, you know, pointing and then closing the eye, he seems to have a slight right eye dominance, where it seems that most people have left eye dominance. So, is that right? It's either that way around or the other way around. And I haven't really come across that before. If you point at a distant object, looking with both eyes, and then you close one eye, obviously you see the relative position move. But with one eye, with my left eye, it moves substantially to the left when I close it. The right eye, it doesn't move at all. And I'd never come across that before. So there's an interesting test for the observer. A little experiment to try later. Dave, well, I heard the rig he was on, so I think it was a 19 set. He was fine, but on the other one, whatever it was, as I think Paul, he was very weak and the poor mod. And so I'd be interested to see what Mike was on. So I'll pass it to you, Mike. You might want to clarify that for us. And if you're interested to know what you did, G3MHX, G3XGW.
You there, Mike?
There's another carrier there with no mod. Not too bad, I think now you are on the 1154. The mod was quite a bit lower, so I think before you might have been on something else. Anyway, should go to PVC G3XGW.
G3XGW, M1 PVC, yes, there was a big strong carrier that came up there. Somebody else wish to join us? M1 PVC listening? No? Okay, right. Yes, I got the wrong end of the stick. I was sure that I heard Mike say it was on the 1154, but as you say, it sounded like the Bendix, and Mike just did say that last time that he was on the Bendix, so you were quite right, Keith, and yeah, sorry, Mike. I have to say that the 1154 that you just used there sounds like it normally does. Pretty rubbish. Sorry about that. I won't go there. But if you wish to really be heard on this net, you're going to have to use your Bendix, because the other one is just not working for you. and they're not complicated. Keith has got one, I've got one, there are plenty in VMARS, and they all sound pretty good, but your one sounds like rubbish. I have to say that, and I'm convinced one of the major problems, and Keith will concur, is that 1154s do not work very well unless they've got 1200 volts on them. That's what they were designed for. And I know you've done circuit mods. Well, put it back as it was, run it on 1200. You know, the engineers knew what they were doing. Anyway, that's it ain't gonna happen, so I'm wasting my breath. Yeah, okay, Keith, on the clays, etc. And yes, you're probably right that they use short charge cartridges in that sort of instance, and I suppose they did when I did it. It was just the absolute quantity that you fired. It was quite incredible. As I say, we had a full day at it, stopped only for lunch, and they must have thousands of cartridges, because there were about a dozen of us in this party. It was very, very enjoyable though, but as a kid, as I say, we used to have shotguns. In those days, there wasn't an age limit. I think you had to be 16 to buy a gun licence, but not own a gun licence. You could have one bought for you, and somebody buy the ammunition and the gun and go off as a 12, 13-year-old as I was, running around the fields with a 12-bore shotgun, which wasn't a firearm in those days. 10-bob license, same one that you had for an air gun applied to shotguns. So yes, we had a lot of experience with those. But yeah, just as well it has got control now. There's nasty people about, but in those days you didn't have any accidents or any problems. I think some of it was good luck, but there you go. And we certainly wouldn't have thought about pointing them at people. Anyway, look about that. Round to you, Martin, and good to have you back, as they say. G3YJ, M1PVC.
M1PVC, G3YJ, just a minute. Frog switch coming up. Right, that's a bit better. I haven't had the elixir this morning, and it's been in to tell, so there we go. Anyway, very good morning to Mike. I'm afraid, yes, quite a nice carrier, strength 9 and a bit, but very tiny modulation in the background, so it's well, I won't repeat what Paul said, but I think you know, the advice is there. And Keith, very good morning to you. 20 over 9, very nice signal indeed, and sounding very good. So all noted on the clay shooting. I've only done a little bit of that, and it was quite fun, but it was only a very short duration experience. But I preferred what I really enjoyed doing was the 303,000-yard target shooting at Bisley. That I found very interesting and challenging and everything. So there we go. Enough of that. I think it's going to be elixir time. Looking at the time, I need to think about. I think today I'm going to go into the office and do various things, including a interview for NHK. So this afternoon, not quite sure what that's about, but no doubt I'll find out when I get there. And next week off to the US for their small satellite conference, which is usually quite an interesting event. And in fact, I went to the very first one, which, for goodness, was 20-something years ago, and there were, I think, about 45 people in a room, and we were all talking about this new idea of tiny satellites, and it was very much a hippie event. Last time I went, I think there was 1,600 people at this conference, so it's sort of grown. Of course, it's lost its intimacy, which was rather fun in the early days. So now, let me see. I've crossed off pretty well everybody. and Keith. So I'm going to put it over to Mike, and Mike, you can put it on to Keith. But Mike, please come back on the Bendix, because that works well, and the 1154, I'm afraid, is a bit of a dead loss. G3MHX, G3YJO.
This is G3. Same on the on this set was, I think what's wrong with the TLM54 is the power supply. It's the regulation. I need more reservoir capacitance. I've got two cups. I think I had the one time, but the capacitance went wrong. I have had the 5 and 9 report on the 1154 before. I think if you cast the capacitor and miss it, there won't be a short circuit, and I don't want to get any. So anyway, whatever. That's the problem. I think I need more like 232, and then the balancing resistor. Then maybe the voltage will stay up. I won't distort. I'm with that set there, the Antiverse 1000 transistor amplifier. I put back the C8 to the original one. Maybe I ought to put another 5 or something. I don't like lifting that set much. It's quite heavy, and I've given it on years, and it always makes my back a bit. I come from the east side of Yorkshire. I think there's 10 around there, but I've never actually gone into it or anything. Interesting what you say, you could actually see the shot coming out of the gun there, whatever. Anyway, I'm waffling on here. I don't know whether these capacitors from. They're all type. I have the clips there, but no capacitors in them. Anyway, cheers. I'll pass it. I don't know how I'll pass it back to. That's right. I'll go pass the keys.
Yes, okay, Mike. G3MHX, G3XGW. Yeah, solid copy on that one. Although you did have a bit of what sounded like hum on for a short time. But there's plenty of mod on that. Possibly just a bit too much, but anyway, we can hear you on that one. Yeah, I've not ever tried running my 1154 on less than 1200 volts, so I can't experience them. But I have heard people say that they don't work properly with significantly less than 1200 volts. And as for the capacitors, well, yeah, I mean. You can obviously get them. You probably need to put some in series with some equalizing resistors to get the sort of voltage you need. But I of course use the internet, but I guess radio rallies you will find them. And I don't know where I should go without the internet, really. I'd be struggling with. Anyway, good luck with that. And yeah, I make this a final. It's getting quite late, and we're going to go out for a little trip today. We might just go into Tewkesbury today. I think that was the plan. There's an organ recital at the Abbey, which I think would be rather nice around about lunchtime. I'll have a bit of a wander about and see what the effects of the rain have been. I mean, I still haven't got any grass. I mean, it's still brown at the moment, but presumably it will now start to grow again. It's got a lot of catching up to do. I think I'm going to be cutting grass for quite a while, but the rest of the garden seems to be recovering quite well. And I can't envisage shooting anything at 1,000 yards, Martin. When I think the bottom of my track is about 250 yards away, 5 times that, my goodness. My sight certainly wouldn't. Anyway, Jolly good. So with that, I wish you all a very good morning. And the order's slightly changed, hasn't it? I think I'll put it back to Paul anyway, because that's where it used to go. But we'll catch you further down. M1 PV.
G3 XGW M1 BBC, yeah, 73 Keith, hope you have a good day, you and yeah. Do your organ recital. Something about a good organ in the right atmosphere. I was quite impressed because we went into Lincoln Cathedral when we were up there. No, it wasn't last year, it was the year before, and they were actually tuning the organ. So the guy that was tuning it was obviously fiddling about, and then he would occasionally play a little piece, and the acoustics in that cathedral are absolutely first class, and that really did sound superb. It must be very, very, what shall we say, satisfying to be able to play like that and to actually be allowed to get on an instrument of that quality. Anyway, there you go. Trouble is you can't have one in your home like that, can you? Having said that, I did once when we were looking for classic cars. My father-in-law used to collect classic cars, shock horror, to export them to America as part of a business thing, because his company was tied up with Baldwin Electronics in America. They used to get a lot of kudos and orders through keeping them happy by providing them with classic cars. And we went to this house in Oxfordshire, which was on sort of an island site, two sides being having a river flowing, and I didn't know which river it was. But anyway, it's a marvellous house with a super garage equipment, converted stables, etc. But when you went into this house, it had a great big hall, and there at the end of the hall was a pipe organ. So, you could do your Captain Nemo. But yeah, fantastic. He wasn't being played, but I could just imagine somebody there doing the toccata and fugue. Yeah, anyway, there you go. I'll make this a final, and okay, on your forthcoming trip to there, Martin, well, I hope you enjoy, and I hope it's successful for you. I don't know how you do it, but you obviously do, and it keeps you active, doesn't it? So I think it's just Ian, Mike, and me, and others. So good to talk to you all this morning, and I'll put it round to you, Martin. Unless called, so to speak, and something to answer. G3YJ,
M1 PVC, G3YJO. Yes, well, all noted, and well, Mike, that last over you were a good strength 9 Q5, so that's the rig to use, and one of these days we really got to try and get your 1154 sorted, because it's a shame that it doesn't really cut the mustard, and it seems a bit of a pity that's causing so much difficulties. I'm sure it must be fixable. All good to hear you on this morning, Keith, as well. Very nice signal. Hope you enjoy the organ recital, if that is indeed what happens. Certainly, I think there's very little that you can have that beats a really good organ with the right acoustics, and there's some very good music around to listen to it. I very much like the chanson as well, and that's a pretty impressive piece. Right, I think it's time for some elixir and to get on, so I think Mike, it's over to you, and wish everybody, and of course any shortwave listeners, a very good morning. It's quite a bit chilly this morning, actually. I've actually even put on a very light, well, I wouldn't say jumper exactly, but sort of t-shirty sleeves, because the temperatures drop right away down to sort of 21 or 22 or something, so it feels quite nippy by comparison, and I think I shall be off on the bicycle to work, so it's going to be interesting to see what that's like. So with that, over to you, Mike, and wish everybody a very good morning. T3MHX, T3YJ signing, but just listening for a little bit.
T3YJ and well, on the 1154, I put back the C8, which is that cooking depressing modulator, and you see from previous reports, it's comfortable and leaking, and maybe you can put the it'll make it alright. Yeah, I've had this 105 and 9 on there. That's with that compressor, the traffic change. Reservoir capacity, it'll keep the rest up. I used, when I first started with M54, I only used 350 volts. And I was talking on the ham radio, alright, but they only recording on FM. Buffer, because it stops all these spurious frequencies going out. It's a pi network. Started going off, and this sort of thing, and on heaters. Okay, cheers. I'll say Channel Station 73, Char Close. It's GCSS for stations.
Yeah, G3MHX, G3YJ, just to say you were peaking 5 over 9, very nice signal. Best I've heard you for a long time, Mike. Anyway, cheers and have a good day.